Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Now it looks like here that the Manny Pacquiao Mikey Garcia fight looks more and more possible. Breaking news. It looks like here that Manny Pacquiao facing Kell Brook or an Amir Khan in December. It looks like it's being put to the back burner, and it looks more likely that Mikey Garcia is the front runner to face Manny Pacquiao in a potential December clash at 147 pounds. I think that'll be a fantastic matchup if that gets done. Here's a direct quote from Mikey Garcia. "We started a conversation with Pacquiao's team, so that's what I mean. We started a conversation. We got in touch with some of his people, and we're going to see what we can put together," Garcia said. And that's pretty much his quote. Maybe we can put something together, but we're still waiting and talking to other people for the Errol Spence fight too, so we got some options. Now, you got to look at it like this. Manny Pacquiao is looking for the biggest and highest bidder. Everybody's interested in the Pacquiao fight, and Pacquiao is a very hot commodity right now. For one, he probably has the biggest name in boxing that's active in the welterweight division, period. So there's no one bigger around that weight class or below that's bigger than Manny Pacquiao. Name-wise, he's a certified Hall of Famer. He's won multiple titles. He's very distinguished and one of the best in the game and one of the best we've ever seen. So if Mikey Garcia moves up, defeats a guy like this, what this does for his reputation, his name, and his brand automatically makes him a pay-per-view fucking star. And yeah, we know when people say that, oh, Manny Pacquiao, he's going to be too much for Mikey. Mikey's unproven at 147. Mikey's a 4-weight division fucking world champion. Show this man some respect. I find it odd that people would give, a guy like Errol Spence more credit than a guy like Mikey Garcia, and yet Errol Spence hasn't conquered multiple weight divisions and been world champions in different levels. Errol Spence hasn't proven that he can do it time and time again against different guys and undefeated champions. Errol Spence has fought nothing but bums on his resume, and the only good fighter he had came off a knockout loss to Gennady Golovkin. That's what he had. So let's not overrate Spence. I'll say Spence is a very talented and a good fighter, but let's not overrate him. Now, me personally, I don't even think anyone's ducking Spence for the simple fact that a guy from 135 can call you out and put your balls to the wall like that. What does that say about you? How feared are you really? It's a false narrative that a lot of media put forward because they want Spence to be the best. These are fanboys, not news channels, not real reporting. These are fanboys. And unfortunately, a lot of that bullshit is being repeated, and I'm seeing a lot of confused fans that are new to the game supporting this garbage. And that's because they're lost. But don't worry, the IBFP is here to guide you on the fuck home, to give you the truth about what's really going on and who's really the best and where to find the best. Now you look at a guy like Mikey Garcia, he can potentially be one of the best. And I'm not saying he blows out Spence easy and walks through him. I'm saying that I think Mikey Garcia gives Spence all he can handle and more. He shows Spence looks and things that he's never seen in any fight. But I digress from the point. You look at Manny Pacquiao, I think this would be a great lead up to a Spence fight. I think Mikey Garcia can show a lot against a Manny Pacquiao if he can take the shots from Manny Pacquiao, if he can handle the speed and aggression from Manny Pacquiao, if he can prove to the world that he's an elite fighter and that can hang in 147 and even possibly stop Manny Pacquiao at 147 pounds in December, that alone will make him a pay-per-view star. That alone will make him a huge global icon because everyone will know his fucking name after that fight. Then at that point, Mikey Garcia goes on to face Errol Spence, and may the best man wins. Then you'll understand, and then you'll see that fight taking more serious. I believe the Manny Pacquiao-Mikey Garcia fight is one that's needed because people want to see a fight that's legitimate. Right now, a lot of fans are confused by this fake media that are calling themselves new media and all this other garbage. And you got to be honest with yourselves. A lot of people don't look at this fight as a legitimate competition. They say, oh, well, he's just too big. Or they're reading into this bullshit hype and narrative that they've been taught and told, and they follow like little puppies. Let's be real with ourselves, and let's be frank on what we see in the evidence. Spence is flat-footed and has no head movement. When Lamont Peterson fought Danny Garcia, that was one of the greatest displays of boxing I've seen from Lamont Peterson. But you have to look at the way Lamont Peterson fought Errol Spence Jr. He fought him turtle-shelled, put his hands up, and tried to outmuscle a guy that's physically stronger than you. That makes absolutely no sense to me that you tried to go blow for blow with this guy. Basically, the only thing Lamont Peterson accomplished in that fight is showing the world that he can be somebody's punching bag. Immediately after I saw that fight, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not the Lamont Peterson we know that boxes with his head. Even his trainer was in the corner saying, what the fuck are you doing? Box this guy. He came on there with some, oh, I want to be a tough guy bullshit, and got himself embarrassed. And at certain points towards the end of the fight, before he got stopped, you heard him telling his coach, hey, I want to go for it all. I have nothing else to lose, basically, because he was too far behind on the scorecards to try to box him at that point. He had to go for the knockout. But you could tell going for the knockout was only going to get him knocked out, was only going to get him stopped. And that fight was stopped. But unfortunately for Lamont Peterson, he didn't use his brain first. He used his hands and then his brain, which is the wrong way to do anything in boxing. You always think first and act second. But that's why Lamont Peterson is not elite. That's why we don't take that victory with anything more than a grain of salt, because we know that any real great boxer will use his brain first and come correct. They'll use lateral movement. They'll use combination. And they'll use angles to slow a guy like Spence down who doesn't have the best head movement. And here's another thing about a Spence. He only fights in a certain particular style, which is a very interesting style, because you have to look at it like this. The guys that he sparred with is very telling about how he fights as a fighter. And so Spence fights with guys like Jermell Charlo in sparring, huge guys who have really no boxing ability other than being boxer punchers themselves. So they just try to go and brawl with you every fight, use their power as a way to dominate and knock out the competition. And none of these guys have ever fought in any elite competition. These guys are just knocking out tomato cans. And so beating a guy like Spence and having that fight being taken seriously is what you're going to need Mikey Garcia to do, is beat a guy like Manny Pacquiao, so you can say, hey, this guy's the real deal. He's coming for Spence, supposedly the baddest boogeyman of the 147 division, the welterweight division. In my eyes, I don't see him as a boogeyman. I don't see him as the baddest man. I've noticed that Mikey Garcia didn't hesitate to call him out. I think Manny Pacquiao will give him a run for his money, but that's not a big money fight because no one's talking about it. There seems to be no interest in that fight. So it looks like here the best fight for Manny Pacquiao right now is the Mikey Garcia. That's going to be a lucrative fight. And Mikey Garcia has recently gone on record saying that he'll fight him anywhere in the world. And we all know that the DAZN offer from Eddie Hearn is a multi-million-dollar offer to Mikey Garcia. And you could see how this could set up on a big stage anywhere in the world between Mikey Garcia and Manny Pacquiao. A few places that this fight could happen would be huge. He could fight in Europe, he could fight in Mexico, or he could fight in Asia. All huge markets for boxing. People would love to see this fight. I'm sure the most money would probably either be in Mexico or Europe for this, or even China. But as I always say, let's get it done and let's see it. Once again, it's the IBFP. Please subscribe for more great content. Unbiased news and none of that fanboy bullshit.